All right, welcome back, everyone, to round number 4 here of our Gym Challenge Finale Barbecue here at Griffith Park, California. I am Francisco Coronel. That is not David Geisler. It's Dennis Geisler.
That is my name. Thank you. Hey, did you get my name wrong?
Okay, so let's get that straight. He's not David Geisler. It's Dennis Geisler. We have Karan Gupta and Graham Collins on screen here. Karan on the Calyrex Ice Rider, Koraidon, Incineroar, Regibolt, Brute Bonnet, and Fluttermane. Brian on the Lunala, Calyrex Ice Rider, Indeedee, Smeargle, Torkoal, and Sunflora?
Yeah, there is that Sunflora. Sunflora is a really interesting Pokemon. The Solar Power ability boosts you in Sun, so it works really well with the Torkoal, and it's like 30 base speed or something really low
It's
that.
low. It's pretty low.
So there's a lot that Sunflora can do under Trick Room. You could tell that Brian wants to do Trick Room with this team, with the Torkoal, with the Calyrex Ice Rider, even with the Lunala. Like, there's a lot of Trick Room stuff on this team.
And here we go with game number 1 between Karan Gupta and Brian Collins. We have Brian on the Smeargle Lunala, Karan on the Koraidon Brute Bonnet. Orichalcum Pulse activates as well as the Photosynthesis for a defense booster on Brute Bonnet, which not gonna matter other than maybe a fake out from Smeargle.
Yeah, it won't really come in handy right now, but mostly, and this is Choice Band Koraidon, which you don't usually see that. It's usually like, okay, Life Orb or some other like super high damage. At the same time, I do wonder what you can do here, because I would imagine that this would probably be the fake out turn for the Smeargle, like fake out Trick Room or even Follow Me Trick Room.
Follow Me Trick Room seems like the obvious thing that happened, I think. It's like you have a focus session with Smeargle, as you see on the screen, like right here, and yeah, I was gonna say Follow Me. It's like even if Brute Bonnet doesn't go for a score, you know, if Smeargle gets KO'd, it's probably best case scenario for Brian. You see U-turn come out from this Koraidon. It doesn't. Hold on. I had a bit of water. Hold on. We all had a lot of technical difficulties. I think we took a pretty hefty break into round number 3 here, as we see U-turn go into the Smeargle, nearly knock it out, and now switches into the Incineroar for a Intimidate for some reason. Probably not going to do much on anything, and Spore goes into Smeargle. It will stick around, and if this is Trick Room coming out, Lunala has to be wary of potentially both these Pokemon being slow than normal, and there's Trick Room. Now the only question is how slow is Incineroar and Brute Bonnet?
Yeah, it's going to be awkward for Brian's side right now, because again, the Brute Bonnet and the Incineroar are just naturally very slow, and even if Lunala is at its minimum possible speed and the Incineroar and Brute Bonnet are at very high speeds, I'm not really sure who's going to be faster here. It also, with the Smeargle asleep, it means that Brian didn't have the opportunity to bring in something like a Calyrex right here to kind of start cleaning up this battle, or like a Torkoal, or even the Sunflora for that matter, to try to start cleaning up the end of this battle. And even, I mean, you look at the Lunala, it might want to click a Psychic move. It might have Expanding Force with the Indeedee, but certainly won't be able to do that against 2 Dark types.
Hey, look at that. We have both player cameras on now.
Ooh,
So now we
look at
see
that.
both Karan and Brian on screen. They're both here. And we see the Smeargle get out of here from the Spore, and in comes the Sunflora.
It is Sunflora. Oh, it makes me so happy to see Sunflora. Oh, Sunflora is so happy too.
It is happy to be in the sun. And there's the Terrestrial leadership coming out as well from Brian, actually. It's going to be the Lunala. It's a Grass Terra. So no Spore will harm it, but it does leave it open to Flare Blitz.
Does leave it open to Flare Blitz, although it still has Shadow Shield active, so that's not going to matter too much right now.
It didn't happen. So that was the Lunala, and it is, in fact, a slower Incineroar, which should have knocked out the Power Herb Spore. Where did it go? It tried to get the Smeargle swap in, but
I like that.
There was a Grass-type form of Sunflora to block it. There is the Moonlight Beam to perfectly play around the knockoff, getting that Power Herb out of play, but unfortunately that didn't do a whole lot of Brute Bonnet.
Yeah, I like the... Generally, I think everyone played that turn reasonably well, but now it kind of just pushes off the real big question turn to right now. You saw the Solar Power on the Sunflora leaking away some of that HP every turn. Does also have the Life Orb, so it'll do like a ton of damage right now. Like, Sunflora is threatening like a pretty good amount of damage right now. And the other thing I didn't really think about was the fact that with the Koraidon, it means that the sun is up even if Torkoal doesn't come around. So Sunflora still has that solar power boost, even though Torkoal hasn't hit the field yet.
And Brute Bonet's not going to be in the field anymore because, well, there's something that needs to be kept in mind from the Sunflora. It has an interesting moveset. Like, we'll see if Brian goes for it. We're not going to talk about it until that happens, or Calco Pulse activates when the Koraidon switch in once again. Lunala switches too.
Okay.
I'm wondering if it's a Smeargle that's coming in for the sacrificial blow. It is not the Smeargle. It's indeed the Indeedee.
It's a low amount of damage on this team for Brian. It means that the fake, well, no.
And there you go. There's the thing we were talking about. Weather Ball in front of the floor. It's going to be a fire type attack. Over half damage dealt thanks to that Light Orb, Sun Boost, and the Solar Power. When Blitz goes into the Lunala, now the Indeedee, it takes it not that well.
Yeah. And yeah, that Sunflora did a lot of damage with that Weather Ball.
And that was the thing that the Brute Bonnet was worried about. That Weather Ball was threatening to get knockout onto it. And we both have our moments, don't worry.
It's hard to take off the headset or move it while I'm sneezing. That's the one issue with these microphones. I forgot what I was about to say. Oh, Sunflora is just still threatening a ton of damage with the Life Orb Solar Power. I mean,
it threatens the knockout onto the Koraidon, and instead goes for the Earth Power. Doesn't knock out the Incineroar, makes it an Assault Vest that's holding. And that's going to allow Incineroar to go for the use onto the Sunflora and not even knock it out. I think if Sun stays up for one more turn, it will go down.
Yeah, I think all it needs is to take the Solar Power damage at the end of this turn, and it'll get knocked out there.
Here comes Calyrex Ice Rider from Karan now to come in and hopefully take advantage of this Trick Room for the remaining turns that it's swinging on the field. We're assuming just 2 more turns of each, the Sun and the Trick Room. It's Psychic into the Koraidon, and Psychic Terrain will knock it out.
Yeah, that was... I'm not sure what Koraidon was going to do there, but...
And Solar Power knocked out Sunflora.
Yeah, and there goes the Solar Power KO. That is not something you usually see, a KO while the ability, ticker is active. That's something I haven't seen very much. But...
So what's left for Karan is a Brute Bonnet that was fearing that Sunflora, but now can come in pretty comfortably. Incineroar is just going to come back in here. It's very low HP, but its fake up support isn't going to matter. It might be slow enough to knock out one of these 2 Pokemon, or it could just be Calyrex's time to get a double knockout.
Well, and the bigger thing is that if we saw Indeedee had the Psychic, it's not going to have another attacking move, so it can't touch Incineroar, and it doesn't really do much to Calyrex. At this point, it'll be difficult for Brian to run this game back. Just because,
there's a battle cancellation. Karan going to take game number 1.
I was going to say, it was difficult for me. I forgot about Brian's Smeargle trainer card. All the Smeargles. How beautiful. How wholesome. It was difficult for me to see a route back into that one for Brian just because all of the damage for the team was focused on the Sunflora and the Lunala. I think Brian will probably have to switch it up a little bit in game number 2 because the issue was that for the Lunala, you lose Meteor Beam because of Power Up getting knocked off, and you lose Expanding Force by the fact that there's 2 Dark types on the other team. So I'm not saying not to bring Lunala, but I do feel like Ice Rider probably should be there, or Torkoal or something like that. If you're going to set up this kind of beginning of the game to get Trick Room up as well as possible, you probably want something that can take advantage of that Trick Room more quickly.
I was about to point out as well, because you pointed out perfectly in game number 1. Brian's offensive options were Sunflora on a ticking timer, and Lunala had its Power Herb knocked off before it could do exponential damage, and it was Smeargle and Indeedee. And Indeedee did take a KO, but that, I don't think, was the damage dealer. And I'm not saying neither Pokemon were wrong to bring it. So it's once Brian's offensive options ran out, this team just left the train.
Yeah, and I think that's the big reason why there has to be something else as an offensive option. As fun as Sunflora is, it's not the most consistent Trick Room sweeper. A lot of the Trick Room sweepers, you're trying to do as much damage in as few turns as possible, and that's why, the Torkoal Eruption is so good. That's why the Calyrex Ice Rider Glacial Lance is good. You're getting these spread moves. And Sunflora doesn't have that. It's the only downside of Sunflora. It's otherwise a perfect Pokemon, but...
Perfect Pokemon? Is that how you want to describe Sunflora?
Yeah. Sunkern is the Pokeathlon GOAT.
Oh, yeah! it does have a lot of speed in its stats.
Yeah, it's literally perfect stat line in Pokeathlon.
Okay, so game number 2, we see Karan lead the Brute Bonnet plus Flutter Mane Brian, switching up a little bit, not bringing the Smeargle as the lead, but instead it brings out the Indeedee. So once again, Brute Bonnet's kind of safe, just do what it wishes to do, and I'm more wondering what this Indeedee can do because, well, you can redirect Spore, but I don't know if that's all. If that's the only thing Indeedee can do.
Yeah, and the problem is that Icy Wind is also being threatened right now.
Uh-oh.
Ooh,
That's a helping hand.
I mean, the problem is this Flutter Mane is Sash.
Shadow Ball is going to be quad effective into the Shadow Shield from Lunala.
That's bold.
Yeah, that's a lot of HP he's taking. There's a Meteor Beam as well. And helping hand plus 1 Meteor Beam. This is Brian hoping it knocks out Brute Bonnet more than likely because we do see it on the screen. Flutter Mane has a Focus Sash. Meteor Beam misses.
Oh, man, that is unfortunate. I'm not sure if it would have picked up the KO, but
And Spore goes into the Indeedee that had safety goggles just in case it switched out.
So, yeah, not a instant game loser for Brian, but that is really unfortunate. I'm not sure if the Meteor Beam would have KO'd, but at this point, I don't really know what the Lunala can do. I mean, there's a little bit that you'll be able to accomplish with the redirection support from Indeedee, I guess, but...
Well, it'll be the choice, though, from this Indeedee. And now Lunala kind of in a weird spot because Moonlight Team is threatening a Rock the Sash on the Flutter Mane. Doesn't really do a whole lot of damage to the Brute Bonnet. And here's... Oh, hey, no trigger coming out. I was thinking it was going to be Follow Me Trigger, but instead it's just going to be the Moonlight Team because you know Brute Bonnet's slow. And that's going to put Flutter Mane in Sash. And, Indeed, they take a special attack drop if that matters in the future. Brute Bonnet goes for another 4 and it gets redirected.
Yeah. And, I mean, the fact that Brute Bonnet hasn't really been able to do anything yet is pretty meaningful, but the question...
Like, the thing that Brute Bonnet is doing is it's scaring Brian from using Trick Room.
To a degree, yes, although, like, Follow Me Trick Room would work to the same degree. Like, Follow Me Trick Room would have worked at getting Trick Room up this turn. The main issue now is that Indeedee is probably close to in range of being knocked out by another Moonblast.
Terrestrialization comes out. It's Brian once again terrestrializing that knowledge of your grass type. I think this might signal that he's not going for Follow Me on Indeedee.
I still think you have to Follow Me on Indeedee because otherwise you get knocked out by Flutter Mane.
I mean, that Moonblast did a chunk on it the first time around. It goes for another Moonblast into this Indeedee. It hangs on it, I think, at 1 HP. Moongeist Beam goes straight into the Brute Bonnet. It's at +1. Yeah, that's around like 30% damage taken in Spore. Not going to work because it got redirected for a third turn in a row.
It's fascinating. The Indeedee took that hit, but the problem now is the Indeedee's on such low HP. It's going to be difficult for it to actually do anything right now to try to help Brian, because I kind of thought Brian was going to go for the Trick Room there to try to get the Indeedee to drop and then bring in something else as a Trick Room sweeper.
It might be the opportunity now to go to Trick Room because the way you're doing it, if you're Brian, is that you're trying to like position your Trick Room turns as like at a point where your opponent is like, wait, you Trick Roomed this late?
Yeah.
And now we see Follow Me come out. I believe this Flutter Mane actually did change course from its attack route. It's Icy Wind, which knocks out Flutter Mane, which knocks out the Indeedee.
Yeah.
Lunala gets pretty close. I'm not sure if Seed Bomb takes the KO.
It'll be pretty close, but I think regardless, that's a smart choice for Brian, or excuse me, for Karan.
Yeah, smart choice from Karan. Okay, so either the Lunala is slower than the Brute Bonnet, which does take the Seed Bomb, mind you, from this Lunala, or it did go for the Trick Room, which now becomes beneficial for Brian because of the Icy Wind drop.
Which is, yeah, it is beneficial for for Brian, but the problem is that it's still on very low HP.
Power's Ice Rider comes out.
It's the Ice Rider coming in here. I'm mostly curious, how many turns of Psychic Terrain are left?
It should be the last one.
Should be the last one. I mean, the problem here is that Brute Bonnet's pretty bulky.
And Lunala is in KO range for anything Brian that Brian would like to take here. But
I mean, the main question to me is, does Ice Rider take out Brute Bonnet one hit? Brute Bonnet usually wants to be as physically bulky as possible. If it doesn't, then Lunala probably drops, and Brian will be down to his last two.
And there's Karan going for his terrestrialization here. It might be Brute Bonnet. It is Brute Bonnet. And Bonnet is going to terrestrialize to Poison type.
That's smart.
Which is sort of dangerous if Brian gets this call right.
It's a lot of calling to do here to make that work, and frankly, I
It's
think
lower than,
that...
okay, so Glacial Lance goes first, so we'll avoid getting a lot of damage. Okay, that's still a lot of damage to the Brute Bonnet. It might still get KO'd from the Lunala
I
if it ends up
think
being slower.
Brute Bonnet should move first. Lunala, I don't know that there's a way to make Lunala slower than Brute Bonnet, frankly.
Nope, it's just going to be a spore going out into the Calyrex Ice Rider, so...
It's not what I expected, but I actually like that play quite a bit more.
Yeah, because then the Lunala takes a KO here with Moongeist Beam because he gets Slice away from the Dark typing, and now it's a weird spot because what are the last two Pokemon from Karan?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of what they are, the fact that you're only really worried about Lunala right now in terms of being awake is a really nice adaptation. Yeah, there's the Psychic Terrain, which doesn't matter.
It's Calyrex Incineroar.
Ooh, that's really good, because I think Lunala might be in range to get knocked out by Figure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Um,
All right, the Calyrex hits the board, and Incineroar intimidates probably nothing. If we assume this, yeah, that is a pure amulet on the, on the Calyrex Ice Rider. We see it right there.
No, not a big deal there, but at the same time, the snap.
Yeah, you just take out Lunala, and then wait. Do you even take out Lunala?
Yeah, because the Calyrex Ice Rider is going to be slower. So this is the.
Oh.
Yeah, I like the switch out there.
I was about to comment on the fact that I don't think this Calyrex Ice Rider threatens damage onto Brian's Ice Rider, and Smeargle comes in.
Ooh, that could really change things here.
There's the first mandatory turn to sleep from Brian's Ice Rider. This turn, and it's going to be a fake out. Yeah, it tried to protect that turn, but, you know, tried to burn the turn. Glacial Lance comes out. This probably should take Smeargle to Sash.
Yeah.
Yes.
It'll come down to sleep turns, I think. As well as just the Ice Rider versus Ice Rider. Although at the same time, I think Karan has a bit of an advantage here for a couple of reasons. The only real downside right now is that you do have to you have to eat the fake out right here.
And it does wake up in one turn. What move did it go for? It's a high horsepower at +1 attack.
Ooh.
This is a knockout on Incineroar just barely. Now, what does Incineroar do here? If Flare Blitz is the Calyrex Ice Rider, does it get the KO? No, it's going to go down to Recoil.
It's going to go down to Recoil, which does
it.
That might be a game decider, actually.
It went to sleep, and now it's burned.
Yeah.
How about that? How about them apples?
That might be a game decider because, although, no, yeah, that might be a game decider because
It's got to be a speed drop maybe for
it
this
has to be a
Smeargle.
speed drop, actually.
It's not.
Yeah. Because I believe there's still
There's
at least
still
a
Lunala
turn
in the
of
back,
Trick
but
Room.
one turn with a Trick Room.
One turn of Trick
And with no
Room left.
Translation, Lunala could just win the game if Brian plays this correctly.
I mean, can Lunala get a KO on Ice Rider at this point? Like a one-hit KO on Ice Rider? I'm not really
It will
sure.
after. Oh, it might after that high horsepower. I'm not too sure. Glacial Lance comes out. This might not KO the. Yeah, it
wow.
will, but the bird will take it, but that's still a +1.
Yeah,
so it is just going to come down to if Moongeist being KOs the Calyrex Ice Rider.
It's going to be tough for it to do that. I don't know.
It's super effective. That's super effective, though.
It's super effective, but it's not +1 anymore. And Ice Rider is a pretty bulky Pokemon. It's got a really big HP stat.
It's based 100 HP, though. That's like pretty standard for a most restricted legendary Pokemon.
Yeah, but it got some real bulk to it. I don't know. Lunala's on literally like the none HP left.
It comes down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Do we see a game 3 from this Moongeist Beam from Brian's Lunala? Or do we see the game ended from Karan? Here's the Moongeist Beam. It is the number one game 3!
All right, yeah, it did get the KO then. I did not think it was going to get that.
And Lunala took that personally.
Yeah, Lunala apparently took that personally. And
we're going to game 3.
Yeah.
Our first official game 3, because the last time we had a game 3, it was a tiebreaker.
Yeah, and now, I mean, you wonder, going back to that turn of like what if it was a fake out into the Smeargle instead, into the Lunala, which became a Smeargle instead, because that would have broken Smeargle's Sash. Smeargle would have dropped a Glacial Lance. It would have had Ice Rider come in on that. Ice Rider would have gotten the +1 and stayed up with Lunala out there. But instead, game 3.
Yeah.
Both these players have been moving, like the battles have been moving pretty quickly, all things considered. And in that game, I mean, Brian brought the Ice Rider, which, I mean, as much as the Ice Rider did just take a bunch of damage, it also, I mean, it got rid of the Incineroar basically solo. It got rid of the Brute Bonnet, a lot of the HP on the Brute Bonnet. Like, it did a lot of work. It got Ice Rider into range of Moongeist. There was a lot that the Ice Rider was able to bring that last game, so you'd imagine probably something similar for this game for Brian.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like you're playing against Trick Room. You need to know that you're playing against Trick Room. And like, even though Karan did bring the Karan on game 1, I don't know if it was actually the end-all be-all, because I think Brian ended up losing a lot of gas because he ran out of offensive Pokemon, and this time for game 2, he did bring the right offensive pieces, and now we're going to go into game number 3 and see it's much the same. It's Indeedee and Lunala again from Brian. It's Brute Bonnet and Fluttermane again from Karan.
The same leads as game number 2. I think the big thing that we saw in the early turns of game 2 was that Indeedee just kept redirecting a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and that ended up making Brute Bonnet's job like really just not valuable.
And it kept redirecting Spores especially, which meant that Brute Bonnet wasn't really doing anything.
We might see it happen again.
Yeah, I wonder how much that will change. I wonder if it will keep
it's Moongeist Beam into the Protect and Lunala turn number 1. We don't see the Helping Hand Meteor Beam as we saw the previous turn. It's another Spore gets redirected.
Okay, so nothing really happening turn number 1.
I'm having a hard time, like...
I mean,
I think my question is, like, when do you let the Meteor Beam rip?
Yeah, probably fairly soon, you'd imagine.
Incineroar comes in, and... I think it's... yeah, it takes the Moongeist Beam a lot better. It should survive a Meteor Beam, should Lunala go for it.
Yeah,
if Brian goes for Trick Room, this might be terrible. Let's follow me again from this Indeedee, once again trying to make sure that Spore doesn't go into the... Lunala, and we do see that the Moongeist Beam going into Incineroar dish to do basically nothing based on Solve and resistance typing. Yeah.
I mean, not nothing. It might put it...
Oh, it's Seed-Bomb this time!
Yeah, which is, I mean, it's a nice little adaptation. Does a bit of damage to the Indeedee. The Indeedee should be not in trouble of getting knocked out by another Seed Bomb, but in trouble of getting knocked out by Knockoff for sure. Or by just something else coming in here. So there's certainly options for both players right now, but at the same time I wonder, because Brian has his effectively 2 setup moves, the Trick Room and the Meteor Beam. And I don't know when either of those is going to come out here.
And it's dangerous to go for Trick Room again, because you know that Brute Bonnet's slower than Lunala.
Yeah, both these Pokemon on the field are pretty slow. So you
and Incineroar comes out, so we're either going to see the last Pokemon from Karan, or we're going to see the Fluttermane come back in.
Interesting. I don't hate the Fluttermane coming back in here.
And Terrestrialization comes up from Brian for a 3rd game in a row. Is this Lunala again from Brian?
Be stunned if it wasn't.
Yeah, it's Lunala going to Grass Terra again.
Good damage. I don't know how much the...
And then follow me goes out.
Yeah.
So if it's another Spore, once again, the Brute Bond's going to fail that move. It's Trick Room. It's Trick Room. It's the Seed Bomb going into the Indeedee there from Brute Bonnet, and because Trick Room's taking a priority, Brian sets it up. Fluttermane's in the trick position, but Brute Bonnet does not mind the situation.
Yeah. At this point, the main question is... I mean, there's a lot that Karan can do to stall out a couple of turns of Trick Room right now against Indeedee, Lunala. Brute Bonnet's not really going to take any damage yet. Brian kind of has to switch immediately to get into a position to do anything.
Oh, I wonder what this one is. It's the Torkoal coming out from Brian.
Which is good. Torkoal will definitely be able to participate here.
Unless, of course, Spore was quick into that slot.
That's true. Then it won't be able to participate at all. But at this point, you probably hope that you have the read right, that it's not going to be a Spore right there.
It is!
Oh, wow. That's a nice little play then from Karan.
Yeah, I was going to point out, you probably think it's going to switch out, and then boom, it switches into a Torkoal. It can't do anything because it's asleep. We see Meteor Beam come out from the Lunala now. I guess those attack moves now. Will it connect? Because the last time it went for Meteor Beam, it did not connect. It connects this time, and it's only in the Fluttermane.
Yeah, which makes sense. Just, that thing is just gonna... Oh, wow, it doesn't even bring it down to set. It's kind of surprising.
Moonblast comes out, and oh boy, we have some chaos going around. Tornado is actually bringing it apart. Some of the setup down, and we do see very minimal damage taken by the Lunala.
Yeah, lots of things flying everywhere. It's a windy day. It's California. It's
the California soul.
Pens falling off our table.
Okay, and Torkoal immediately switches out in favor for that Sunflora coming in corner 4.
Sunflora. That's the real carry here. Is the Sunflora getting the job done.
And Brubana gets out of here too.
I mean, I don't hate where Brian is kind of going with this, because at this point the Lunala is in a pretty nice setup spot. It does have Shadow Shield broken, but apart from that, it's in a really nice spot.
Protect comes out from Fluttermane, so we will stick around for another turn. What did Lunala do here? Moonlight steams into the Incineroar slot, so what previously the group on it is not there anymore. Doesn't even take another half. And so, second rating's gone. So that's important for Fake Out.
Yeah, there will be a Fake Out available right now, but whatever doesn't get faked out is going to get a KO, probably. Because Fluttermane, it has to, like, I mean, it's probably not going to get a double protect in short.
Oh boy, yeah, Fake Out goes into the Sunflora. He sees the
honestly,
yeah,
that is honestly the bigger threat right now, because Moongeist, like, anything will pick up the KO on Fluttermane right now. The problem is, all that really does is stall out a turn of Trick Room, which isn't worthless, especially knowing all 4 of Brian's Pokemon. But all it kind of means is that you stall out a turn of Trick Room.
And then comes Ice Rider.
Gets there, yeah. And I know that Sunflora is slower than Ice Rider. Like, unless the Sunflora is
and this Sunlight actually
fast for some reason.
This Sunlight might actually be good against this Calyrex, unless, of course, it's Terastallizes. Karan is yet to Terastallize.
Yeah, I mean, I think basically no matter what, Sunflora has some kind of damage into Calyrex. It's just a question of, like, can you read the Terra right now?
Either read the Terra, or do you just want to assume it just protects?
Or read the Protect, yeah.
Because you saw how much Earth Power did in game 1.
I mean, you know that Incineroar doesn't have Protect, so you could just launch your attacks into there if you read the Protect. I don't know, it could go either way. Because you really don't want to let Glacial Lance go off right now, because Glacial Lance probably basically ends the game if it goes off right now.
Yeah, because you're seeing 2 grass types in front of you.
Yeah.
And then the Pokemon in the back is a sleeping Torkoal that's yet to take a turn of sleep, and then indeed that is at like around 40%, and it comes back in.
Makes sense. It does mean that you lose the Power Herb boost, but
I think this one you don't need it. Power protects. So it has to be Earth Power to some forward in order for this turn to count for Brian. It was not.
Yeah. I don't hate the idea, because if Calyrex uses, like, looks at the big juicy
it's Flare Blitz into the Indeedee. It's gonna get KO'd.
Okay. I'm curious how much Trick Room is left.
There should be either the last one or there's one more.
Because if there's another Trick Room turn remaining, this could...
No, that's it.
Trick Room's over.
Lunala is now the fastest thing threatening against the Calyrex Ice Rider, but Sunflora now kind of left stranded.
Yeah, it kind of comes down to the Moongeist into the Ice Rider again, this time without the...
the extra damage it took earlier.
Yeah, this time without the bonus damage, and potentially with Terra available if he wants to go for that. The thing is, like, again, Glacial Lance is just threatening so much here, because at this point, it's pretty clear the Lunala doesn't have Wide Guard.
It's difficult. Like, it's really difficult for Brian to come out of this situation, because he still has the 0-turn sleeping Torkoal in the back. Karen's going to go ahead and Terastallize this Calyrex Ice Rider into that water type.
Yeah, which in general is just going to be good. It means you take less against Moongeist, which I think is really the only move that makes sense to click here.
It's Expanding Force, so
okay.
It reads Terra indirectly, but this should not knock out Calyrex Ice Rider anytime soon. Not even half damage. Incineroar U-turns into the Lunala. That's good bulk. It's going to switch
less
out.
Damage than I thought it would, but I think that hold for Glacial Lance, basically.
All right, yeah, here goes Group on it again from Karan. See it come in, get the defense boost for the photosynthesis. Do we see a Glacial Lance come out, or is it an inverted Trick Room? It's Glacial Lance. This should be a double KO, and Brian's putting it out. That's probably going to do it, yeah, that's it, because Torkoal has 0 turns to sleep.
Yeah, the Torkoal has not slept yet and will get hit by a high horsepower, +2 high horsepower.
That's all it took. And unfortunately, Sunflora is not happy anymore.
Sunflora not happy anymore. Very tragic, but yeah, I mean, it was a pretty well, I mean, it was a very well-played set for both sides there. I mean,
both players laughing it off as we're going to see the final moments of this game. You know, just for confirmation purposes, you know, it's not over until it's over.
Just to watch out the rest of it. But yeah, I mean, I think that I'm mostly
Yeah, and there we go.
About
There we
to-
go.
it was
Karan
about to
Gupta wins round 4 with a 2-1 victory over Brian Collins, and Sunflora tried its best. But
Sunflora put in work. Honestly, Sunflora put in work, and I know that he didn't bring it to either his last two sets. So the fact that it was able to actually put in work here is something. But yeah, it was a fun one.
Yeah, it is such a fun one, and we're gonna go to another break here. We'll be back with round number 5 with the barbecue finale after this break.